We're live. Hello and
Hi.
welcome.
Hi.
We're here with Jelena. Um, actually, is that your nickname? Because that doesn't look like how your name actually is written. So, is that your nickname, Jelena? Or is that how?
Jelena is my real name.
So that's
And
actually how it's said, even though it's spelt
yes,
Zivjeti.
yeah. But
Yeah.
in my Facebook profile, it's the translation is living happiness. That means
Oh,
living
I love
happiness.
that.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
beautiful.
I like it also too.
Living happiness.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're here. We're doing a chart reading, me and Bella, for you, and we'd love to know where you're at on your journey with the Gene Keys and human design. What brought you to it? Actually, how did you find it?
Uh, I My first impression of human design happened 3 years ago. I first did it for my kids, and after that, I did it for myself. And I found out a lot of interesting information that I didn't know about myself. And those kinds of information put me to go deeper and deeper and deeper inside of myself. After that, I found out that I'm so eager to find and to learn something new about human design. And I took some online courses here in my country and online. I ordered a lot of books because I like to learn. And the human design brought me somehow, I don't know, because there is no coincidences in life. So I found out Gene Keys through your channel, Ashley and Bella's channel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting for me to see that you doing some at some day of the week you're doing those free readings, and I was following that, and it was really really interesting, and I found out why I don't do that. And because both of you have so huge knowledge and deep knowledge in that Gene Keys and human design, and you put it in a really really nice stories, meaningful stories for the persons that are dealing with that for the first time, or the persons that are living their design for a few years. And that's why it was intrigue for me to apply for this.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You're
you for that.
welcome.
I'm so glad that you took initiative and kind of, I mean, because we've only been doing it for a little bit, these kind of readings and stuff, and you're like, I want to do it. Let's do it. So I'm super
Perfect.
excited that we're doing this together. Um, yeah. So without further ado, let's bring up your charts and start diving
Okay.
into that. All right, here we go. I love your profile picture. You're so happy. You're like you have that childlike energy. It's just so cool.
Thank you. I like
Yeah.
it also.
Okay. Awesome. So here's your information. I wanted to mention first, since we are in transit with the inventor is the 24th gate, and you have 24.5 in your Mercury, which is
Mhm.
really cool. And we'll end up talking about that. So 24.5 here. You also have, which isn't activated yet, but you will be having the 27, which is the Nourisher, which we just came out of
Mhm.
transit with. You'll have that gate activated when Chiron returns. So
Uh-huh.
it's interesting the way that your life is leading up to have that Chiron return and what's going to be focused there. So we'll probably touch on that a little bit as
Perfect.
well. So you have the Nourisher and you have the Inventor. So it's just perfect timing that you decided to do it this week. It's perfect. Awesome. So, Jelena is a manifesting generator. She's a 4-6 profile. You can tell that by looking at her gene key and the line. So 4-6, and your single definition. So everything is connected, which is cool. So, Bella, did you want to kick it off? and see what's coming up or what's sticking out in her chart for you?
Yeah, what I'm seeing, I would absolutely recommend you to watch our featured profile, Dylan, because he is a 4-6 with a cross of the Sleeping Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So there is something, I think there's some resonance there that you could feel. This is a super powerful cross, also because humanity, you know, or the collective, we're going through astrology-wise different crosses. So this is what's going to come in and be like what humanity is in 7 years, in 2027. So I would say you can be better prepared for the changes than many other people can be. And I would say that what we could say the biggest issue for you in your life, if we look at the activation sequence, that would be that you would be busy with things that are not nurturing you, busy with things that you don't love. So how you change that is to really start always focusing on what you love and not so much on how you serve or what you're supposed to do. When we look at your open ego, your open emotional, your open G, the white centers in your chart, you could have that tendency to do things to kind of prove that you're good enough, or to make people happy, or for people to not be angry, or even kind of hook on your life on somebody else because it feels like you have more direction when you do that. So I want you, as a 4-6 profile with the 20 and the 34 in your life's work evolution, to really focus on what you love. And it has to do, I would say there is some energy here that has to do with the body, like an Olympiad. They say that the 34 is, that's how you're grounded, and you have a little triangle in the 34 that is exaltation. So there is something with your body, with your life energy, with majesty, that is super important for you. And when we look at it in the body graph, you can see the 20 in the throat is connected to the 34 in the sacral, and it's connected to the 57 in the spleen. So for you, what's so important, I would say your main instrument for not going into business that's not nurturing you, but draining you, would be to tap into your intuition. Your intuition is going to guide you. What are the things that you want to be doing? What are the things that you want to actually engage your presence in? And I feel like that is a very, very, if you get this right now for the coming 7 years, you are going to really be that role model, the 4-6. The 4-6 is a role model, but you are a role model from the body. So you have that 34 that it comes from your own life force, and that's how you walk through the world. And that's also what I see will unlock your freedom, your intimacy, the transparency. You are a role model that stands for freedom, transparency, and intimacy. And I'm interested to hearing from you, like, are these words things that resonate with you? And is it something that you feel like you already have in your life and maybe even are an example of?
I'm not sure that I'm still right now having that in my life. Just recently, it was digging inside of me to step outside of my real life and to go deeper in spirituality. Because I'm really focused on my mind previous years, and just a couple of years ago, I started to feel what is nurturing me, what is about what things I'm feeling good and lovable and peaceful. And those things are just concerned about spirituality. Recently, I opened my YouTube channel for the first time. I mean, it was last week, but it was a really important step in my life. And I feel so good. It is 180% different about my real work that I'm right now doing in my life. Totally different. It doesn't touch anything about spirituality. It is most of those jobs that I do is from the head. And those things are really growing inside of me for a long time, and I didn't have enough courage to step outside and to do something that is from which things I feel so good and happy. And also, just like you said, I feel that those things that I'm doing that I like is really giving me a lot of energy.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't feel, I don't understand this part of the intimacy. Just you said transparency. I don't understand that.
Right. And it's perfect because you are starting from, what we learn in the activation sequence. You're starting your life's work in your evolution. And if you would go on and work with your head and just do the work you do, probably as the 4/6, you would start to feel anxious, because that's what we do. The heart doesn't feel like it's part of your life, which you really love, and then you start to feel anxious. And then you would feel in the radiance of purpose like you are a victim for the circumstances, and you would even feel like probably that you are not completely honest, because you're putting all your energy in something that is not nurturing you, that is not grounding you. And as a 6-line purpose, you need spirit to come through your body. Otherwise, your body is not going to be happy. It's going to go for a long time. I'm a 4/6. It does work for a while, but we want you to unlock the challenge between the life's work and the evolution, to do what you love, and to see every time you feel anxious, it's like, okay, it's often like anxiety comes before, for 4th-line personality, anxiety comes before it's really bad. That's a good thing. Like, you probably start to feel something is wrong before it's really detrimental for your body. So you can always course correct. So we want you to be present in the now and see, what do I love? And then I think we're going to go more into how it's going to unlock in your radiance and your purpose. But I would say, when you feel like a victim for the circumstances, or when you feel you're dishonest with your life, those are 2 very important indicators that you need to listen more in and find your purity, because that is the culture. You're here to do things that it's a double heart thing, 12/4, purity of the heart with a 4th-line, 4 chakra. So that's what you're here to do in your network. You're a double networker too. Culture is 4th-line, life's work and evolution are 4th-line. So you're here to do it. And you're also a pearl 4th-line. So there is this aspect of networking from the heart, telling the truth so that it comes across to the other, so they can be inspired by your truth, which is your SQ. So that's the story from the outside in. And I also think, Ashley, I'm sure that you're seeing many things from the inside out, but this is kind of what I see the frame as being.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I'd like to touch on, Bella mentioned the 4th lines, and I agree with everything that she's saying. Also, looking at your open G, and what you're going to be able to do is to plug into the other, or have the other plug into you, so that you can read, like, what is it that they're about, who are they, what do they love, so that you can speak that, so that you can connect in that way, knowing deeply what the other is, who the other is, because of that openness that you have, knowing what motivates them, knowing what they're going through emotionally, knowing who they are at a core soul level. So it's really cool to see so many 4th lines, and then that open G center for where you can connect. With the 6th line, I wanted to touch on that, because yes, it is about nurturing. I can see the patterns of what's happening now, and why exactly Chiron we would lead into the 27 in Chiron, because that's all about nurturing yourself, nurturing the other. You can see that unconsciously you have 27.1. This is all about nurturing yourself. It's called selfishness, but it's like understanding what you need, because you have to be good before you start nurturing other people. But because you have the 6th line here, it's the 6th line's suspicious. It's like, can I trust here? It's about nurturing, it's about trusting. And you have the 6th line here. So can I trust to be intimate in the now? There's a lot of questioning that probably happens in your head with this doubt, inquiry, truth happening here. You're like, can I trust? Can I trust to mirror? Can this happen? Can I merge with the other? Can I have that mirroring with the other? So those questions will come up for you. And that's what's going to happen here. Like, you don't have the 10, and you have this individual circuitry happening here, where it's like, I know what I am doing in the now, but do I know what I need to do to empower myself in the now? Do I know what I need in the now? And so that's the question that you ask. Since the 10 is missing, you have all this, I'm doing stuff in the now. I know what I'm doing in the now, but I don't know what I need in the now. And so bringing yourself into the mix is what's going to help you make Chiron return a little bit less messy, when it's asking you to nurture yourself and then nurture the other. Right. And Chiron's going to come when you're in your 50s or so. And right now, we have 7 years till the incarnation cross kind of shifts for the collective, like Bella was mentioning, and we're going to go into your cross. And And people are going to be losing their minds because it's going to be so busy and people are going to be trying to survive and they're not going to know how to thrive. So if you can get yourself into a position where you know how to take care of yourself, you know how to thrive, you're going to be able to serve other people to help them thrive. And you're going to be able to bring that in because you're a 4/6 and you are a role model in your body, in the way that you are. I mean, you have that 34. So you're here to be doing, you're here to be busy. You're here to be showing people what it's like to thrive while still having a busy life, because people are going to be trying to figure that out for themselves in the coming years. So to do that now for yourself is super important for you, finding that nurture within you and actually calling that forth before it actually gets activated would be awesome for you. Because it's all about how can you nurture and empower yourself, because you have 6 lines in your mind, 6 lines in your body. And then you have this doubt in your SQ and your vocation, which we'll probably go into more. But that's kind of what I'm seeing in your chart.
Perfect. That means that I have to be focused on myself first.
I would say it's more focused on love than on yourself. Because the second lines of you're going to say, I need this, I need this, I need this. And that's what's not good for a second line that you have in your vocation, your SQ, your attraction. It says, I need. No, it's not about you. It's about love. It's about what you love. So it's like, I am love. The needs are tricky for you because of the second line in your SQ, your attraction and vocation. So I would like to know, when you were a child or your parents, I don't know how, if you're born in Croatia, how things were when they were kids. Like, what does freedom mean for you? And how were your parents? How were they with each other? Like, tell us a little bit to understand what's going on in the center of your chart.
I didn't have a lot of freedom, never. That means that for a lot of things that I wanted to do, I don't know, when I was younger, from school to my faculty, it was like, you need to do that, to this, you have to go this direction, and a lot of control, of course. I knew my lower border and my upper border, and I didn't ask should I have to cross the upper border or go beyond the lower border. It was like this.
Was that both your parents, or was it in school? Like, where did you feel like you got those borders from?
From the school. And from my whole childhood. I was the first kid, and I have 2 sisters as well. And I have the harder relationship or childhood from my sisters. They are little. Both of them have a much more freedom than I have.
Yeah.
Just I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, 10. Maximum 10 years ago, I found out that I'm here to deal with myself, to give myself permission to do the things that I like. Yeah.
So did you try to understand when you were in school, for example, when you started to be able to think, did you try to understand why you had, because you said you didn't really ask, but did you try to understand why there were so many rules, or why you were treated differently than your sisters? Did you have those feelings or thoughts?
No. I was like, I was said, do this, and I didn't ask why. I didn't compromise myself. I didn't go in fight with my parents. I was really a good person, good child.
Yeah, and it's in one way it's perfect, because you have open heart center, open ego, and open emotions. You want people to be happy, and you're a 4/6. You want things to be friendly, So. Yeah.
And it's very funny, sorry for interrupt, but it's very funny. I did this human design to my whole family, and all of them have a G full. I'm the only one that I have it empty. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say it's a lot with the emotional center to not want to, you would rather, because you have only the 55, that's the only gate you have, you would rather go into state where you are saying, I don't need, like, okay, take away my freedom, then you actually fight with the conflict, the weakness, the your desire. Like you would just kind of say no to all this and be like, I'd rather have less freedom and make everybody happy, you know. And it's not even thought, because this is when you are so young. So it's like 0 to 7 and to 14 before you can really think about it. But what I feel is that, you know, that when you have a second line SQ and you're here to inquire about your truth, when people, you know, when you're set like this in schooling and with parents, you're like, they're taking away, like, instead of stimulating you to inquire for your truth, they just actually made borders so that you didn't even tap into your superpower of inquiring about truth. And what that meant in your EQ is that you kind of become like introvert in a way. You're like, you don't even say, this is actually what I would like to do, this is the freedom I would like to have. You actually kind of just go along because you want people to be happy. And that's the first line, that actually it would be a self-sabotage in the long run if you would live like that. You try to understand everybody around you. The fourth gene is about understanding everybody around you, so that you can make sure that everybody is happy, everybody, community, the family feels happy. But it's a kind of self-sabotage, because like you're saying, you're here to live out your freedom. You're here to do what you love. You're here to even be very precise of what your energy and your fueling in your lives, you know, in your vocation is. And I could also see how you would go into your IQ as a 6th line, being really objective. Yeah, that's how school is. That's how my parent is. That's how it is to be the oldest daughter. That's what we have to do. You would just not objectify, be objective about everything. Understand it again. You have a 4th line EQ. You have a 6th line IQ. Fourth gene key, that is about understanding. And then the 6th line IQ is like, okay, I see, I understand. But there is a part of your magnetism, you know, your energy in the world as a 4-6, your heart, your purity, your 12th gene key, that is not going to be able to shine. And you could go into kind of extreme thing of like what I have done with my 6th line in my IQ, to just be a perfect person, you know. And that would say that you have misunderstood your North Node. Your North Node is about perfection, but not that kind of perfection. It's a perfection that has to do with vitality. And if you look, you probably have to rewatch this. If you look at your North Node, it's 18. And if you look at your moon, it's 58. That's a super powerful channel from your splenic center to your root center. It's about vitality. So your perfection is about your own vitality, and that's your whole drive. And like you're saying, it's you, it's the first line, it's the individual, it's what is important for your satisfaction. And that comes back to your pearl. 58 is the programming partner to 52, which is the pearl, which is, will you ever be able to find harmony and breath? You know, there's so much about the breath in the 52, like being the still mountain, but it comes from breath. And it comes again in the 4th line from the heart. So for me, there has been a little bit of a misunderstanding of perfection that comes, I see, from the 6th line IQ. There's also this other thing, this kind of advanced. I don't know why we're going into advanced stuff, but you have a theme that is advanced because you have a 4th line Mars, and a 4th gene key in your Mars, a 4th gene key in your Saturn. Your Saturn has a detriment. You think that your stability in life comes from understanding. You think that if you can just understand things, you will be stable. If you can just use that understanding in your work, in your life, you're going to be stable. It's completely not true in your case. Your real masculinity is the 29.3. And I would kind of like you to read the 29 gene key. It's all about devotion. It's all about tantra. It's a 3rd line of play, playfulness, acceptance. Like, it's so, your inner stability, your inner masculine is all about that kind of devotion, flow, tantra, life force. It's not from your head, but you have a detriment to think your Saturn, your rules, your stability comes from an understanding in your ajna, but actually it comes from a sacral energy that has to do with playfulness and energy. So there is something there that is so important, and that inner masculine is going to, you know, merge with your inner feminine. That is the inquiry about freedom and truth. So devotion, freedom, truth, playfulness are the words that are in your inner marriage. That's what's going to fuel your radiance. And that's when I'm thinking your aura. That's when you're going to start these things feeling in your aura. But for so long, you said, okay, I'm just going to say no to my freedom, because then everybody else is going to be happy and my life is at least going to be calm and I'm not going to have problems.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah. I'm feeling that is something inside of me, and I'm feeling it for long years, that there is something that and I'm feeling that I need to give something to my community, to myself first, and then to my community. And I noticed that some of the peoples are feeling good around my aura, feeling stable, fresh, smiley. I feel that. I feel that.
And what are you doing? What's your YouTube channel about? What is it? What is your, what's your
about human design? Yeah, about human design, and I think it is. I wanted to do something, and right now the thing that is that splash more lights inside of myself is human design, and that was my first step outside of my comfort zone. And we will see. I don't know where it will lead me, or in which kind of cooperations with myself, with others. I don't know. Never mind. It was really important for me just to do something.
Yeah. Are you doing it in your language, or are you doing it in English?
In my language, but in the future I plan to do in English as well, because I saw that there is a lot of persons dealing with it, especially in America. In Croatia, there is only 2 persons. One girl that I learned from her, and me.
Right. Well, there is something about precision in your vocation. This is my North Node, and I think that's why I'm into Gene Keys and human design, because there is something with precision in whatever you're here to kind of, what's going to have to do with your initiative in the world and what's like going to serve your life's work. It is probably going to be something quite precise. It's not that it's precise from the head, but it's kind of the light language that comes out from people. It's like, it's precise. We don't know what it means, but it has this very certain flavor that is yours. It is connected also to your purity. So there is something in the expression of what you do that I feel, it's probably either a system that you come up with, or something that is quite, like has your very specific tone.
I can't believe that you just said that, because after that's my first YouTube video, a lot of persons who called me or to write me, doesn't matter, it has one keyword from the most of the people, and that one keyword was a so good tone of my voice and my energy.
Yeah, that's your essence. I mean, your tone is important, because that can empower people. And if you can always speak from the heart and what you're identifying with and what you're going through, that's going to come out to share with other people, and they'll be able to feel that from you through your words. You open your heart through that, like, here, I'm going to share my truth with you. Here's what's happening, and here's how I'm going to say it. And it's just so cool that you're noticing that kind of synchronicity too. And I feel like if you can keep focusing on like the little signs, it's going to lead you in that direction. Because the person that we did yesterday, Tracy had 15 in her IQ as well. And we were talking about signs and symbolism and angel numbers and all that stuff. And that's kind of how your mind works, is like recognizing those different things in nature, like nature coming to you, animal totems, all that stuff. So keep your mind focused on like those little synchronicities, because those are what are going to lead you. And we don't normally go into this, but I wanted to show your life cycle, because that's kind of the theme of the environment that you're in. And I feel like the reason, and you reached out to Bella first, and the reason you reached out to Bella is because your life cycle is her incarnation cross. Like, she's the cross of the Sphinx, and she's a 4/6. And right now your incarnation cross, well, not like your design is the same, but the theme of your life right now is 4/6 cross of the Sphinx. So I wanted to show you where you're at and kind of where you're going, because it's so cool how things happen and the way that people magnetize together. So I'll take this off the screen, and then let me pull up the life cycle, because I think it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. We're mirroring now. Like she's me in this thing. And we're going into the cross of the Sphinx like right now in a couple of days. So it's also like the sun is going.
Yes. So she's a little bit flipped. She's like 1, 2, 7, 13. And I wanted to also mention that we were talking about the 58 and the 18, and you're going to be moving into that right angle cross of service where we have the 58 and the 18. I think that with your Mercury being in 24.5, that's very auditory. So the way that you're talking, relating to people, hearing people, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to listen to you because I want to be a good girl. I fear authority. It's like you need to be able to find your own uniqueness, creative genius, and kind of like be the rebel against that, because you have the whole channel. You're here to look and see what needs to be perfected. What do we need to go to move towards the betterment of the world, because we have that 58 and the 18. The 18 knows what it needs to do. The 58 says, I'm dissatisfied with something. Let's do something about it. The 18 knows what to do about it. But if you're constantly listening to somebody else's opinions and somebody else's authority and their judgments and what you should and shouldn't do, then you're never leading your truth or your creative genius out into the world. And so you're moving when you turn 43, this is going to activate for you, where I think that your direction is going to be towards, well, what do I identify with? What do I love? What am I going to master? And putting your devotion and dedication towards that as well. Bella, what do you see with where we're moving towards? And then obviously we have Chiron.
I kind of looked at the theist, anti-theist. So this means that the motivation is color 2, and this is mine too. So the motivation is hope. Like you are not here to actually, before you start a YouTube channel, you're not the person who's going to do all the research and do it like from kind of, is it going to work? Is it going to be perfect? You are kind of just I'm going to do it. I know I have to put it out. It's like, it's the inspiration and the hope that things are, the things are going to come and flowing for you. It's super, super important. And whatever was your authority, whatever, somebody put on you, a theist, like believing in something that you had when you were a child, those borders, like you're going to the anti-theist, you're going to becoming your own authority, your own truth. So that is, I have that color and I have that trajectory. So it's so important for you that whatever happens from you, it kind of comes from inspiration. And it's not like something that you need to scientifically know. For you, it's more important to have a gut feeling that it's right than to have the scientific truth about it. So that's the kind of the big life trajectory that I see. And I would also mention something about this. I don't know why I repeat it, but there is something with you where it's not like it's important to not fall into the trap of like, this is what I need from you. Like you are here to become even more empowered in yourself, the more and more. So it's like, what do I love doing? What empowers me? So that you can't anymore, because your attraction is it's oppression. You don't want to let anything on the outside actually take away what you love, take away your empowerment. So I would say it's even more coming into these first, now you're 41, so 43, and even more coming into your own empowerment, and to know that when you become in your own empowerment, that's when the role modeling is going to come through. And I do feel that there's a lot of warmth, a lot of freedom, a lot of intimacy. Like I can feel intimacy with you because you are a 4-6, but I think you're more going to feel the very more specific flavors of the 6 line. And I would even say, inquire what it is to have the element of spirit in the way, like when we speak about the purpose, we say, this is the reason that you came here. And it's also the way that you ground into this reality. And the 6th line is about, it's the element of spirit, and it's the intention. So like with everything you do, you kind of feel, oh, I have the intention of this channel. I'm going to do it in my language first, but my intention is to do it maybe, bigger later. And it's giving me spirit, and people can feel my tone. Because tone, spirit is like not something you can really, it's like not an element. It's like something that is not so tangible. So those are the 2 things that I would say that's going to open up. And then that is the 59 for you. So you are going to open up your own warmth, your own transparency. I think there are even things, because what Ashley was showing here, you have the channel of mating right now. So we want you to become also intimacy is super important for you. I don't know who is in your life. I don't know if you're married, but there is something tactile in you. And I would say, especially for the 2 next years, it's something that we really, really want you to focus on. And there could be, I can see, because you have the 1-4 in your life's work in the theme. So that's the sun. And then you also have 1 in your like normal design in creativity in Uranus. So I would say there could be periods where you have aloneness, where you have void, where you feel like, why is nothing sparking? But trust those. I have 1-4 in my evolution, and you have it now in your life's work. Like, I know how hard that can be to accept that there is no hope even. There can be those moments. I just want to kind of give you part of my experience, that never judge those moments of darkness or aloneness or void, because they are part, even the 2, it's the 1 and the 2 are the polarities of the universe. And there is something that wants you to, I think there's something for those 2 years that are coming that want you to really live that, so that you can really step into the cross of service, being a 1-3, being a light bulb from the age of 43. And maybe you would even, like, closer to that, I say, maybe do a Uranus return chart, so you know the exact date when you're 43, and so you can see what are you stepping into. For now, I wouldn't even do the chart for the where you are now, because you've been in there for a long time. It's not a shift now, but tune into the cross of the Sphinx. Read the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 13, and know that these are G center gates. So there is something with you, even though you have an open G, there's so much direction, and there is so much. You're 4-6, so there's so much love, and there is so much love for yourself and what you're doing in the world.
Wow.
Yay! I'm like, we have to bring this up. This is going to be so good.
Wow. Thank you, Bella. It was really astonishing. But can I ask you a question? What does it mean, intimacy? In which kind of intimacy with my people that are listening to me? That kind of intimacy, bonding intimacy?
Yeah, I would say for you, because you are. So intimacy, you see the 59, it comes from the sacral center, so it has to do with life force. It's not only, of course, you have intimacy. The intimacy you have with people, I think it comes even more from your 4th lines, because it's an intimacy from the heart. There is something even more, like your 59 is a 6th line. There's intimacy, like your body, your energy. Like you, for me, that's important. And you have a 2nd line attraction, which is all about merging. So for me, it is important in your sexuality too. Like, intimacy is a key for you. And I would say it's also very important for you as a 2nd line attraction to not merge with anybody. Like, even if you have now you have the channel of maintain. So you could have a lot of lust in you, a lot of desire. But I would say it's important for you to really be discerning with who, because you have this 6th line spirit in your body. People are going to be drawn to you. But that could lead, if you are not discerning, that could lead to this kind of power struggle, almost with that 47 oppression. But you are here to transfigure through your own sexuality. I would say, I say it often because I think people are drawn to me that have themes like this. But the 6th line and the 2nd line for me are like really. In sexuality, the 2nd line comes with the sacral, with the waters, with the fluid, with the merging, with the saliva, the liquid exchange with the other. And the 6th line takes in spirit and says, this is not just like animalistic merging. This is spirit that goes through. And when I see your sacred marriage, which is the 29-3 on the masculine, it's all about devotion, and it's all about that kind of love that is. It's all about the kind of love that is beyond somehow. So you have, as a 4-6, you have all the colors of the rainbow. For you, sexuality is something very primal, but it's also something very spiritual. And that's what I feel like you're here to investigate for the next 2 years. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you're in a relationship. For me, there is something visceral that you want to live for these 2 years, so that you can become a role model of that in your 2 next phases that are both 1-3 role, like, empowered being that shines your light to inspire others.
Yes, I'm in marriage right now.
Do you feel like you can explore, like, do you feel like that would be the container to explore intimacy? Or like there could also be, even intimacy is self-pleasure. Intimacy is knowing your own energy. Intimacy, I'm not saying, I think there's always ways of including intimacy. I'm saying find those ways. I'm not saying if your marriage doesn't have a lot of that kind of, quality, how can you bring that in some way?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And even tell your husband, I'm this kind of animal. For me, it's important with this. But if there's not a spirit, whatever it is that you feel, you want to be able to, because that's your IQ. You have a little bit of a difficulty to express your emotions, and that will sabotage your life in the first line EQ. So you want to make sure that thing that is hard to speak about, the first line EQ, that's how you reclaim your emotional intelligence. That you start as a first line to explain it, not from the head, but from the emotional side.
Okay.
That is where you shall focus. And Bella kind of wove the 59. You have the 59.6 in your purpose right now. And then with your environment and your life cycle, it's the 13.6. So discernment about intimacy and like who you're merging with and who you're mirroring with. Because we start here. What's the purpose of our relationships? Intimacy and empathy. Transparency. So having that transparency in the relationships is going to unlock this attraction sphere. If there's not transparency and empathy for both sides, like you're going to want to feel it for both sides to be able to come into that with the attraction sphere and the mirroring and the merging. This is where it starts in that area of life, because it may be more difficult to do it there just by the tone of your voice and like what you're putting out, and I would really go into that just to see, and sit with yourself and see how can I explain it, because you're going to want to share your heart with that instead of from like a factual intellectual place. It's like feel into the whole relationship, feel into the whole thing and be like, here's where we can come in closer. Because 59, we have to have, if we don't feel safe, if we don't feel free, you need to feel free. If we don't feel safe, we're not going to have transparency. We're not going to want to share anything. And if we don't share anything, there will never be an opportunity for intimacy. So you have to feel.
There is this theme of freedom too that is there, and that's what we want you in the EQ to give yourself the ability to start sharing your emotions, because that has been something that the little girl didn't know how to do. And then in the second line SQ, we want you to give freedom to yourself. So there is something, if you are with somebody who can't go there with you, you have almost like a responsibility to give yourself, in your pearl sequence, it's not going to start to fire right in the outer world until you have really reclaimed your SQ and given yourself that freedom, those, the wildness, everything the inner child doesn't have. That's what underpins. And it's coming, what we were saying, Saturn comes in and sits together with Venus in the middle of the chart. And that's the third line of playfulness, the third line of acceptance, that maybe things are a bit fucked up, maybe even the marriage is a bit fucked up. It has that, but it doesn't stay there and say, okay, no, it's actually committing to truth. It's committing, that's what you're doing. The masculine, the Saturn commits to Venus, and Venus is the inquirer for truth. And he says, I'm going to always devote to you. I'm going to always give you stability as long as you, Venus, you are going to think about truth in your values, in what's the qualities in you, like all these Venus aspects. So that's important to do for you on your inside, because that it's the very seed of the masculine, the feminine, that is going to be your aura.
Yeah. Perfect.
Do you have any more questions, or kind of like pointing us in a direction of something that you're curious about?
I just want to ask you about about your suggestions about my next directions. Just to sum up, as you said, Bella, I need to focus on the things that I can, especially concerned with my feelings, to express it, to say it out loud. So it will help me to unlock the part of my childhood, right?
So what we are doing now, and I think you have, for me, I feel like you have 2 years, so it's no stress. You know, I feel what you're doing is you're reclaiming the 4 parts of you. You have been living much in the IQ, because it's easy for you to hang out. Your 6th line is we're really objective. You know, we are sometimes arrogant even because
with defined head and ajna. She's got a lot of definition there. So of
you
course
can kill anybody with your words, but it doesn't, like, there's something, a part of you that doesn't get expressed. So what we want for you to do is to reclaim all the parts of you. So not just the mental, you're coming back, like we were saying, into the 4-1, reclaiming that emotional intelligence, where you start, instead of self-sabotaging by not saying and accepting those borders, you're actually starting to express. You're starting to express. And you're also coming back to the SQ, where you were too young to do it, to process things emotionally or mentally. So there are things that are in your cell memories, and that's the child who doesn't feel completely free yet. It's the child that didn't have that possibility to inquire for her truth, but just had to take the truth of, like, being the oldest daughter, like the rules, like she just had to do it. So we want her to come alive, and not only to come alive, we want you to be her parent and say, I'm never going to control you in that way anymore. Nobody's ever going to control you in that way anymore. I'm here with you. I'm going to make sure that we figure out what your truth is. Like, you want to be there for her. And that's when you reclaim both the physical part, like when things, we were speaking to somebody yesterday that said she had a lot of things in her body. Like, when you go into the SQ, there are going to be, these are still cell memories. And you being a 6-line body, there are going to be things starting to happen. And when that happens, is also when when the spirituality door opens up. So you have mental, where you kind of could have been stuck forever. You are reclaiming the emotional, so you can go in deep into the cell memories, into the physical. And when the physical opens up, the physical is the portal to the true spirituality. In this true spirituality, you have the sacred marriage of Venus and Saturn, which is going to come out for you as devotion and inquiry for truth. And they support each other.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. It was really, really deep directions and concrete lessons, and you just pull up everything that is important for me. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I've been speaking more than Ashley today, because there's something with you and me that is like so mirroring. And I like, normally I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop myself. But with you, I can't even stop myself. Like, I see you as a mirror, and I see your 1-4, and I even see the parts that feel like, you know, that there's no hope. And I have also second line, like the second color, hope, motivation. So there is something there's something super powerful that is going on. And I thank you for being a mirror for me, and for kind of making me also express my truth through you somehow.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Really. Right now, I will repeat this video a few times, because there is some parts that I want to listen once again.
Yeah, and you know, we can also say, Ashley and I, we have a group where we do this every week with people. So either, I mean, you're gonna have us on you can reach out to us on Messenger and all that, but there's something where you have a constant mirroring, like in a group for maybe a couple of months, that could help to be a container. Because what we have done now is we have pulled your DNA, like we have pulled the strings of your DNA like this, and we are quite intense, like, you know, and we go quite deep. I mean, into your like things that Richard hasn't even released yet with Saturn. So just know that whatever feels, and as a 6-line, you know, as a 6-line body, there is a lot of things that can move and go to spirit and come back. So just know that we are here, and that there are other ways. It's not like, oh, we were at 1 hour here and then we don't exist. Like, we won't exist for you after this.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Because I'm sure right now, I'm sure that I will have some questions about this part of purpose, intimacy, especially to unlock the second attraction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Bella invited you to come into our inner circle community, because to have that experience and to have that mirroring and to be able to feel safe in the container to express yourself will help you kind of have that more core stability. Because in order for you to go into the 47.2 in your attraction, you have to root down into that core stability. So you're going to be working with the 55 and the 59. If you don't feel free or safe to do that in your relationships you have right now, you can always do it in the community where you have that safety to be vulnerable, to go there, to activate that for yourself, so you can then bring it to your personal life. Yeah. And then before we go, I want to also bring it back to the inventor archetype, because you do have it in your Mercury, which is all about communication. And I would also invite you to watch the interview that we did with Tim, because Tim it has 20. Let me look at your chart again. I believe it was the same. Yeah, 24.5, because he said that the keynote is called is confession. And because this is auditory, and you're taking all these things and opinions and judgments and things from your family as a child, right? Where you're like, I can't even doubt them. They are the truth, right? And now you're coming back to be like, here's how you're going to open up your emotions, because it is about forgiveness. And it's forgiveness that what I heard before and how I acted from before, I didn't know any better. And so you can forgive yourself for not opening up that freedom for yourself, because you didn't know any better. And it's through the confession and saying like, yes, that is who I was before. And like talking to your inner child too, and saying like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry because I didn't know, but I know now, and we're never going there again. And that will open up the strength of that divine sacred child you have inside, and she will feel safe, and you will be able to merge and commune with her, and you'll have that relationship with your inner child. You'll have that relationship with your inner feminine too, because she is going to become the mother, right? And to come into that archetype for yourself is so important, with that coming into your Chiron. And it's not happening for a while, but that's what you're going to be bringing through, is that mothering archetype too. Like, how can I care for and nurture myself as I'm going into these darker places? And again, saying to yourself, as you're communicating, as you're bringing that stuff up, as you're thinking about it, I didn't know any better. It's okay. I didn't know any better, but now I do. And then you come into that forgiveness and understanding. So, yeah.
And I posted the interview too with Dylan, so that's going to be on the Facebook page. You can look at it, and then if it works, we'll post it there. And then so you have, I think, both looking at Dylan and looking at Tim is something, because we learn from hearing people that have similar activation. That's because you and we feel now a resonance for. So I think. I mean, those are two things to do, and then reach out to us when whatever feels right. And then also allow, because you have that tendency to, instead of go to the devotion and the 29, the kind of just like acceptance of what is, you have that. We saw the double masculine that is trying to understand instead. So I would invite you to go in more to the lower centers, actually, in not like to the feeling inside the sacral and like your inner fire. I would go back there.
I just feeling that I need that my inner. I know that inner fire is inside of me, and I know I'm feeling that it wants to go up like a fish, and sometimes it goes down, and most of the times wants to go up.
So work with your SQ and your EQ, and then that 29, that fire, that devotion, that that's going to be able to come up. And there is something with the 29, because I think it's water over water or something. It's probably water. It's water over water, and then the third line is fire. So it's almost this like I think it's a sacred element, the fire in the water. There's something very powerful with that. That Simone, who is with us, she works with. Sometimes with that double element of water and fire. So I can feel that's in you, but that is not really going to come up until your inner child feels safe. That's why you want to be there for her.
Okay. Thank you very much, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful. And thank you, everybody who joined us live. And we appreciate your comments too. And Jelena, this was so awesome. And I'm so glad that you reached out to Bella, because now we're kind of uncovering the resonance between you two. And I'm sure Bella was listening to the words coming out of her mouth and like, oh yeah, this is for me too. Oh yeah, thank you. So thank you for that opportunity for all of us. I mean, so cool. Thank you so much.
Perfect. I'm sending you A lot of kisses from Croatia.
Yay!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.